You ever have one of those nights where your whole life feels like it's hanging on a single word? That's where I found myself, under a full moon that glared down like a giant spotlight, exposing every secret I thought I could keep hidden. The rooftop garden of our school was quiet, except for the sound of my heart pounding and the faint rustle of leaves. I was standing in the middle, my palms sweaty, as two very different werewolves stared at me like I was the answer to all their questions. On my left stood Michael, my best friend since childhood. Messy brown hair, nervous eyes, and that same crooked smile he always wore when he was trying to cover up his feelings. He looked like he wanted to run, but instead, he finally spoke, his voice shaky but determined. "Annie. I can't keep pretending anymore. I'm in love with you. I always have been." The words hit me like a punch. Michael? My Michael? The boy who once spilled soda all over my prom dress and made me laugh about it for weeks? The one who growled at every guy who even thought about holding my hand? The one who was always safe, always there? Before I could breathe, Jason stepped forward. Tall, calm, and confident, the kind of confidence that came naturally to an alpha. His presence was magnetic, steady, the complete opposite of Michael's nervous energy. His eyes softened as they met mine, and for once, he didn't look like the untouchable alpha that everyone else saw. "You don't have to say anything yet," Jason said. His voice was steady, almost soothing. "Just know this, Annie, I would never hurt you. I thought maybe you were looking at me like I was the one. But the way you look at him," he nodded toward Michael. "That might already be your answer." My breath caught in my throat. There I was, stuck between two wolves under the silver glow of the moon, each waiting for me to shatter the silence with an answer I didn't even know I had. And all I could think was, how in the world did I end up here? It hadn't started with dramatic confessions under a moonlit sky. It started with a cafeteria tray, a new alpha transfer student, a jealous best friend who thought he knew everything about love, and me, clueless Annie Miller, just trying to survive high school without embarrassing myself. But fate had other plans. This is the story of how I almost dated an alpha, but ended up discovering who my heart truly belonged to. And let me tell you, it was nothing like I expected. Before I take you back to where it all began, let me ask you something. If you were me, standing under that moonlight with your best friend confessing his love and an alpha watching your every move, what would you do? Would you choose the safety of the boy who's always been there, or risk everything for the excitement of someone new? Tell me what you'd decide in the comments. And if you're enjoying this already, make sure you like this video and subscribe to support my channel, because this is only the beginning, things are about to get even interesting. Chapter 1. If you ask anyone at Westwood High how long Michael and I have been friends, they'd probably roll their eyes and say, since birth. It's not exactly true, but it feels like it. We met in second grade when he accidentally spilled grape juice all over my math workbook. I cried, he panicked, and then he shifted, yep, full-on tiny wolf pup right there in the middle of the classroom. Everyone screamed, the teacher fainted, and I laughed. Hard. Since then, we've been stuck together like gum on a shoe. Michael and I are what people like to call inseparable. I'd call it annoying but necessary. He sits with me at lunch, walks me home after school, and has made it his personal mission to growl at any boy who so much as glances in my direction. Like today. "Are you seriously doing that again?" I asked, glaring at him as he bared his teeth, just slightly, at two juniors who were trying to offer me a seat in the cafeteria. Michael shrugged innocently. "What?" "I was just stretching my jaw." "Stretching your jaw?" "You literally growled at them." He leaned back in his chair, flashing that mischievous grin of his. "Maybe they just weren't worthy of sitting with you, Annie. I'm saving you the trouble." I rolled my eyes, stabbing at my mashed potatoes. You do realize I'm human, right? I'm not looking for a mate the way wolves are. He smirked, but his eyes flickered with something I couldn't quite place. Doesn't mean I can't have standards for you. That's Michael, equal parts protective older brother, overconfident beta wolf, and my best friend who somehow makes me want to throw mashed potatoes at his face and hug him at the same time. We've always been safe, comfortable, predictable. And in high school, safe is rare. Hey, Annie, Michael said after a few bites of his burger. I was thinking, maybe this weekend we can catch that new movie at the mall. The one with the exploding cars and zero plot. I smirked. You mean your favorite kind of movie? Exactly. He leaned forward, his tone dropping into exaggerated seriousness. Because I only watch movies with actual art, Annie. Cinema. Class. Right, I said, laughing. You just want an excuse to eat popcorn the size of your head. He grinned, but there was this softness in his gaze that made my stomach flip for reasons I didn't want to examine too closely. Michael had a way of looking at me like I was the only person in the room. I told myself it was just because we'd been friends forever. That was all. The truth? I liked our bubble. No drama, no awkward feelings, no big confessions. Just us against the world. But bubbles always burst. Later that afternoon, as we sat on the bleachers during gym, Michael tossed me his water bottle. Heads up. I caught it, barely. One of these days, you're going to knock me unconscious. He laughed. Then I'll carry you home. Perks of being a werewolf. Michael, I said, shaking my head. You're ridiculous. And you love it, he shot back. And maybe I did. Maybe a little too much. But the thought was dangerous, so I shoved it away. The bell rang, echoing across the gym. Students grabbed their bags, chatter filling the air. Michael slung his arm casually over my shoulders as we headed out. To anyone watching, we probably looked like a couple. But to us, well, at least to me, we were just Annie and Michael. Best friends. End of story. As we walked down the hallway, I noticed a buzz of excitement rippling through the crowd. People were whispering, glancing toward the office doors. Even Katerina, the self-declared Queen Wolf of Westwood High, was fixing her hair in the reflection of a locker. I nudged Michael. What's going on? He sniffed the air, literally, and raised an eyebrow. New wolf. Smells like alpha. My stomach twisted with curiosity. A new alpha? Here? At Westwood High? The human half of me was intrigued, but the part of me that had learned to survive in a school where humans and werewolves mixed knew one thing: alphas always meant drama. Michael must have seen the look on my face, because he tightened his arm around me slightly. Don't worry, Annie. Whoever he is, he won't bother you. I've got you covered. I wanted to believe him. Really, I did. But as the office doors opened and the crowd parted, I caught the first glimpse of someone who would change everything. Tall. Confident. Eyes that seemed to see right through the chaos. And just like that, my bubble with Michael? I had a feeling it was about to pop. Chapter 2. The moment those office doors opened, I swear the whole hallway forgot how to breathe. He walked out like he owned the place, tall, broad-shouldered, dark hair slightly tousled, and eyes that flickered like they could see straight through you. Jason. The new transfer student. And not just any student, an alpha. You could feel it in the way the crowd hushed, the way the wolves instinctively lowered their shoulders as he passed, even the way the humans stood straighter like they were trying to impress him. Me? I nearly dropped my books. Michael, of course, noticed. He leaned down and muttered, "Careful, Annie. You're staring hard enough to burn holes in his face." I elbowed him. "I am not staring." "You're drooling," he teased, flashing his grin. "I'm breathing," I hissed back. "There's a difference." Jason's gaze swept the hallway once, calm and unbothered, before he turned toward the principal's office again. He didn't smile, didn't say a word, but somehow every girl, including Katerina, was already sighing like he'd just confessed his undying love. Katerina practically launched herself at him, hair flipping like she was in a shampoo commercial. "Hi, I'm Katerina. Welcome to Westwood. If you ever need someone to show you around." Jason's eyes slid to her, cool and unreadable. Then he simply said, "Thanks," before continuing down the hall. No smile. No interest. Just alpha energy. I don't know why, but my heart gave a little jump. Michael groaned. "Oh no. Not you too." I blinked. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means I can smell your hormones from here, Annie." "Michael." I slapped his arm, cheeks burning. He smirked but slipped his arm casually around my shoulders. "Don't worry. He's probably not even your type. Alphas are overrated. Always brooding, always dramatic. Bet he writes sad poetry about the moon." "Better than a beta who growls at cafeteria trays," I shot back. He clutched his chest in fake pain. Ouch. Low blow, Miller. We walked into class together, but the buzz didn't fade. Jason was the topic on every whisper, every note being passed around. Even the teachers seemed a little flustered when he walked in. And then, fate decided to mess with me. "Class," Mrs. Lane announced, "we have a new student joining us. Jason Hale. He's transferring here from Redwood Academy. Please make him feel welcome." Jason nodded politely, scanning the room. For half a second, his gaze landed on me. My stomach did a backflip, and I swear my face turned the shade of a ripe tomato. Michael leaned over and whispered, "Relax, Annie. He's probably just checking for exits." "Shut up," I muttered, but I couldn't focus on anything for the rest of class. At lunch, the cafeteria was louder than usual. Jason had barely sat down with his tray when half the girls swarmed his table, laughing at jokes he hadn't even made yet. Katerina was front and center, her hand brushing his arm every 2 seconds. I plopped my tray down across from Michael, trying not to watch. Trying and failing. "You're staring again," he said, not even looking up from his sandwich. "I'm observing," I corrected. "Like, scientific observation." "Oh yeah? And your conclusion, Dr. Miller?" "That alphas come with built-in fan clubs," I muttered. Michael chuckled. "And betas come with built-in common sense." He leaned closer, his voice softening. "Don't get your hopes up, Annie. Guys like him, they don't notice girls like us." I froze. Us? But before I could ask, Jason stood up, tray in hand, and out of all the empty spots in the cafeteria, walked right past Katerina and sat at our table. "Mind if I sit here?" he asked. His voice was deep, smooth, and carried just enough alpha command to silence the room. Michael stiffened beside me. "Actually." "Of course," I blurted. "Totally. Sit." Jason set his tray down, and just like that, half the cafeteria gasped in unison. Katerina's glare could have set fire to my mashed potatoes. So, Jason said, looking at me. What's good here? My brain short-circuited. The mashed potatoes. They're, lumpy but in a comforting way? He smiled, just a little, and for the first time, the alpha looked almost human. Comforting, huh? I'll take that as a recommendation. Michael groaned, muttering under his breath, kill me now. But Jason ignored him, his focus still on me. And I realized with a jolt that maybe Michael was wrong. Maybe alphas did notice girls like me. And that thought was both thrilling and terrifying. Chapter 3. Confession is a weird word. It sounds holy until it's suddenly you, in a quiet corner of the library, confessing to your best friend that you might be into the alpha who sat at your table like destiny had a seating chart. Okay, I whisper, don't laugh. Michael doesn't look up from doodling wolves with sunglasses in the margin of his notebook. I never laugh. You laugh at everything. He grins. At everything except your pain. Proceed. I inhale. Exhale. Regret everything. I think I like Jason. The pen stops. The library clock ticks louder on purpose. Michael's eyes lift, and there's a flicker, something raw, unguarded, before he masks it with a crooked smile. Like, he asks lightly. I nod. Like. He leans back, folding his arms. Huh. That's all you're going to say? I'm deciding between supportive best friend, brutally honest beta, or jealous gremlin, he says, counting on his fingers. Give me a second to choose a personality. I groan and bury my face in my hands. I knew this was dumb. A gentle nudge to my elbow. Hey. Not dumb. Just complicated. I peek between my fingers. Complicated how? Alphas are intense, he says carefully. They don't always do soft. They do decisive. Territorial. Sometimes it's sweet. Sometimes it's a lot. He clears his throat. And you. You deserve soft. Something in my chest pulls. You think Jason can't be soft? Michael's mouth quirks. He sat with us at lunch, so obviously he has taste. He taps his pen on the desk, then straightens. All right. New plan. Please say the plan is Annie forgets this conversation and marries a croissant. Tempting, he says, but no. The plan is, if you're going to talk to an alpha, you're not doing it blind. He lifts his chin, mock noble. You, Annie Miller, are officially under the tutelage of Michael Reed, beta extraordinaire, humble servant of romance. I blink. Wait, are you offering to wingman me? He shrugs like it's nothing, but his voice softens. I know how alphas think. I'll keep you from stepping in emotional bear traps. Wolf traps, I correct automatically. Those too. He winks. I'll coach you. We'll play to your strengths. And I'll make sure you don't get eaten. Metaphorically. A nervous laugh escapes me. I don't know whether to be grateful or terrified. Both, he says. Rule 1 of my mentorship, always both. We spend the next 15 minutes pretending this is normal, best friends designing a how to love an alpha syllabus between textbooks. Michael writes headers like fieldwork and do's/don'ts in ridiculous block letters while I overthink how close our chairs are. All right, he says finally. Diagnosis time. Why Jason? I swallow. He's calm. Like he carries the noise without needing to be the noise. And he looked at me like, I shake my head. Forget it. Like what? Like I wasn't invisible, I mutter, embarrassed. Michael's jaw tightens. He looks away for a breath, then back at me with a smile that doesn't fully reach his eyes. Okay. Then our goal is confidence. Not fake. You. But a version of you that believes she's visible before anyone else does. I stare at him. When did you get wise? When you started talking about other guys, he says lightly. Turns out pain is educational. Michael. Too honest? He grimaces and then forces brightness. Homework. After school. Practice. Practice what? Smiling without looking like a raccoon in headlights? Alpha body language, he says, very serious now. Trust me. I'm not convinced. But I'm also not backing out. We end up at the empty auditorium after last bell, because Michael knows the janitor and apparently the janitor thinks Michael is a good wolf with a noisy heart. I'm stealing that for a poem later. Stage lights buzz overhead as he drags 2 chairs to center stage. Demonstration, he announces. Stand here. I step onto the tapex, explain to me how this is not embarrassing. Embarrassment is cardio for the soul. He positions my shoulders. Rule 1, posture. Alphas track confidence like heat. Shoulders back, chin level, soft eyes. Soft eyes? Not glare. Not pleading. Warm. He steps closer. Like you're letting them in, not giving them a performance. I try. He squints. Now you look like you're about to cry. Because this is mortifying, I hiss, and then laugh because he's right. Show me. He does. It's ridiculous how easy it looks on him, his stance grounded, eyes gentle but steady. For a moment I forget to breathe because he's not playing alpha, he's being Michael, and it's magnetic in a way I don't have a word for. See, he says softly. It's just choosing not to shrink. He places my hands at my sides. Rule 2, don't fidget. Touch your hair once, not 20 times. Count to 4 when you breathe. 4? I ask. 4, he repeats, eyes on mine. In. 2. 3. 4. Out. 2. 3. 4. We breathe together. Something inside me unclenches. Rule 3, he says, stepping back reluctantly. Don't chase. Invite. And how does one invite without sounding like a menu? I ask. He grins. Ask a question they actually want to answer. Not what's your favorite color, but what calms you down when the moon gets loud. That's terrible, I say, charmed. But also, kind of good? He bows. I accept my paradox. We practice greetings. We practice standing still. We practice not filling silence with nervous babbling, my hardest subject. Every time I break and giggle, Michael giggles with me until we're both doubled over. Every time I get it right, his face does this glow thing that makes my skin hum. Katerina's voice slices through the auditorium like a knife. Oh, look. Theater club for the untalented. We turn. She's leaning in the doorway, nails perfect, ponytail too sleek for mortality. 2 Omega girls hover at her shoulder like punctuation marks. Rehearsing for the role of desperate human, she purrs at me. Cute. Michael's body goes still, beta to full wolf alert in one breath. Katerina, he says evenly. Rehearse kindness. You're rusty. She smirks at him. Careful, read. Betas who pretend they're alphas get hurt. Good thing I'm not pretending, he says. I'm protecting. Protecting what? She lets her gaze flick to me, slow and cruel. Property? My cheeks flame. Michael steps closer without touching me, a boundary drawn in air. Katerina, I say, surprising myself. We get it. You want Jason. You don't need to shove me off the stage to prove it. Her smile sharpens. Oh, sweetheart, I don't need to want him to know what he wants. She taps her nail on the chair. He'll sit where power sits. And sometimes, Michael says, dead calm, power sits where kindness is. Her eyes glint. We'll see. She pivots and leaves, the door squeaking in a way that feels like a curse. My pulse is everywhere. I'm sorry, I whisper when she's gone. I didn't mean to drag you into. Hey. Michael turns to me, voice warm again. You didn't drag me anywhere. I showed up. On purpose. I nod, not trusting my voice. He claps once. Breaks over. Rule 4, humor. If you can make an alpha laugh, you'll unclench his shoulders and his ego at the same time. Is that science? It's survival. He tilts his head. And you're funny when you're not trying so hard. I fake scowl. So I should, what? Trip on purpose? Please don't, he says quickly, like he can see me considering it. Just, be you. Braver you. The one who laughed at me when I shifted in second grade and peed on the tiles. I gasp. I will never let you forget that. I live to serve your memory, he deadpants. We go another round. By the time the sun slants gold through the high windows, I can stand still without apologizing to the air. I can ask a question without swallowing the ends of my words. I can breathe in fours and feel my spine hold me up. Well? I ask, gathering my backpack. Coach? He gives me a slow, proud once-over that makes my skin fizz. You look like someone who knows she's visible. I swallow. That's because you see me. The sentence hangs there, too honest. His face changes. Gentle first. Then something aching. Then he blinks and hides it with a grin. Homework, he says briskly. Tomorrow, you say hi to Jason without turning into a raccoon. Ambitious. I believe in miracles. We walk home together, our shadows long on the sidewalk. He kicks at a pebble and it skitters ahead of us like a tiny comet. For once we don't fill the silence, just exist in it, both of us pretending the air isn't charged like a summer storm. At my gate, he hesitates. Annie? Yeah. His voice comes out quiet. If he doesn't notice what he should, that's not on you. I study his face. You mean, me? He nods, eyes steady. You. I want to hug him. I want to run. I do neither. Good night, coach. He salutes. Good night, star player. The next morning, my stomach is a tangle of butterflies trying to form a marching band. Michael meets me at the front steps, black hoodie, bed hair, half smile like he didn't sleep but figured out how to look like he did. You ready? He asks. No, I say truthfully. Perfect, he says. That's when the best things happen. We're halfway down the corridor when Jason rounds the corner, backpack slung over one shoulder, sleeves pushed to his elbows like he's allergic to cuffs. He sees me. Pauses. Offers the smallest nod. My brain screams. My body remembers the rules. Shoulders back. Chin level. Soft eyes. Hey, Jason, I say, and somehow my voice doesn't wobble. Question for you. He stops, curious. Shoot. What calms you down when the world's too loud? I ask, and then want to punch myself because that sounded exactly like the bad version I mocked yesterday, except Jason's mouth tilts, surprised. The woods, he says after a beat. Running. His gaze warms a fraction. You. Books, I say. And people who don't make noise just to prove they're here. He holds my eyes. There's a flicker, interest, I think, before Katerina materializes like a perfume ad gone rogue. Jason, she purrs. Coach needs to see you. He nods politely and steps away, but not before looking back at me once. See you at lunch? Oh. Yeah, I manage. Lunch. When he's gone, I sag against the lockers. Michael appears from absolutely nowhere, hands in pockets like he planned the universe. Well, he asks. I survived, I whisper, giddy. He asked to sit with me at lunch. Michael's smile is bright and bruised at once. Then we move to Rule 1. I blink. Rule 1 was posture. He shakes his head. Advanced Rule 1. He lowers his voice like it's a conspiracy. Confidence. My laugh trembles. I can try. You'll do more than try, he says, eyes soft and fierce. You're going to walk into that cafeteria like you belong at the table, because you do. I nod, heart racing. Somewhere inside, a tiny, hopeful drumline starts. Lunch is hours away. Which gives me just enough time to ruin everything with overthinking, or to practice breathing in fours until my spine remembers. Either way, I have a coach. Which is comforting. And terrifying. Because if I'm honest, every time Michael says you've got this, a different part of me whispers, do you? And do you want it? I shove the thought down. Confidence first. Clarity later. I square my shoulders, lift my chin, and head to class with the strangest feeling that my life just shifted, one practiced breath at a time. At lunch, I'll find out if confidence feels like courage, or like tripping in high heels while pretending it's choreography. Chapter 4. Confidence sounds simple until it's your feet doing the walking and your brain doing the siren. Rule 1, Michael says, steering me into the main hallway, walk like the ground isn't doing you a favor. No gratitude to tiles, I mutter. Chin level. Shoulders back. Soft eyes. And bored hands. Bored hands, I repeat, because mine are drama queens. We turn the corner. Jason's at his locker, calm, sleeves pushed up, like he invented posture. Katerina hovers nearby, glossy and territorial. Two Omega girls whisper when they see me. I feel Michael at my shoulder like a metronome, in 2-3-4, out 2-3-4. Go, he murmurs. I go. Not too fast, not too slow. Chin level. Shoulders back. Bored hands. Jason looks up. Our eyes catch like an invisible string pulled tight. Hey, I say. My voice doesn't squeak. Miracles exist. Morning, he says, surprised soft. Katerina smiles with her teeth. Jason was just saying how busy he is. I didn't say that, he replies, still watching me. Cute jacket, Annie, she adds. Vintage? Thanks, I say pleasantly. Confidence is my new accessory. Jason's mouth tilts. It looks good on you. My chest lifts. A freshman bumps me and I don't apologize to the air. I just adjust. Not a crisis. Not a wound. A moment. Pack strategy meeting after school, Katerina tells Jason, like I'm furniture. Coach wants you there. After school, he repeats, eyes still on me. What are you doing then, Annie? Michael's inhale carries from 3 lockers away. Homework, I say. And saving the world. You? Jason's laugh is quiet and real. See you at lunch? If you want, I manage. I do. He closes his locker. My ribcage feels bigger. Michael is suddenly studying a chess club flyer like it's life or death. He sticks out a fist without looking at me. Textbook, he says. Gold star. That felt normal, I whisper. Confidence usually does, he says, pride glinting before he hides it with a grin. Next rep at lunch. No raccoon eyes. Raccoon eyes is a slur for dramatic lashes, I say. Then holster your weapons, he shoots back and escapes before I throw my binder. Third period, I practice soft eyes at the periodic table. By English, I'm a reformed human who breathes in 4s. Then I overdo it. Jason answers a question about leadership. I hold eye contact a beat too long. He catches me. Mrs. Lane calls on me. I say, sometimes leadership is knowing when not to speak, and somehow it lands like wisdom. Jason's gaze warms. Across the room, Michael's thumb goes up under the desk. I don't dive into my backpack to hide. Growth. By lunch, confidence has a pulse. I get my tray and walk like the floor is mine. Michael spins an apple like a coin at our table. You ready? He asks. No. Yes. Jason peels away from a varsity cluster and heads straight for us. The cafeteria hushes. He sits across from me, not even pretending to shop for other chairs. Katerina chooses a nearby table, fury iced over and pretty. What's good today? Jason asks. Not the macaroni, Michael says. It squeaks. Squeaky food is an experience, I offer. Jason smiles. I'll avoid experiences. We talk. He's quieter than his alpha aura suggests, more deliberate than guarded. He asks about books. I admit I like poetry and don't shrink. He asks what makes school tolerable. I say people who share fries, and Michael slides his plate toward me without looking up. Jason notices. You two are close. Since 2nd grade, I say. When I was a chaotic pup, Michael adds. Now I'm just chaotic. Jason nods slowly. It's good to have someone who knows your before. Most people only want your after. The sentence settles warm in my chest. Safety feels like someone saving you a seat you didn't know you needed. Katerina glides over. Jason, coach needs your input. Pairing drills. After lunch, he says, not looking up. It's urgent. So am I. He pops a grape. Social earthquake, delivered mildly. Katerina blinks, turns, floats away. Michael cough laughs. Bold. Jason's eyes flick to me with a hint of apology. I'm not great at performing interest I don't feel. I'm allergic to it, I say. Hives. He smiles, it hits real. For a breath, I forget every rule except the one where you let yourself be seen. Then I mess up. Jason turns to grab salt, Michael mutters, hands, and I plant my palms decisively, on my chocolate milk. The carton flips. My slate is baptized. Silence. Michael slides a napkin over without changing his face. Bold choice. Milk cuff. Jason laughs with me, not at me. I dab my wrist. High fashion. Matches everything because it stains everything. Iconic, he agrees. My heart knots. Behind me, Katerina clicks her tongue. The world does not end. After lunch, Jason lifts his tray. Hesitates. Walk to class? 2 words. Gift wrapped. I glance at Michael. He studies his Apple sticker like it's philosophy. Go, he says softly. So I do. We fall into step, shoulders almost brushing. We talk vending machines and weather, how the old piano in the auditorium is always a half-step flat. Confidence doesn't feel like acting, it feels like breathing with my shoulders open. At my classroom door, Jason slows. You make it quieter, he says, like he didn't plan to. Me? I laugh. I'm a professional overthinker. Maybe, he says. But you don't fill the air to own it. You share it. His gaze holds. I like that. Heat rushes to my cheeks. Thanks. He starts to go, then turns back. See you after school? Pack meeting? I ask, casual as a fire drill. Maybe before, he says. If you're around. I'll be around, I say, and mean it too much. He leaves. I stand there until Michael appears like he lives in the walls. Well, he asks, voice light, eyes not. I think I did okay. You did more than okay, he says, grin bright. You made an alpha double back. Confidence, I breathe. Rule 1. Rule 1, he echoes. Proud of you. The words land someplace soft. I fist bump his shoulder because I don't know what to do with tenderness, and he huffs a laugh. Tomorrow we layer rule 2, he says. Strength. Not gym. Choosing yourself in the room. I have the upper body of a noodle, I warn. Luckily, emotional musculature counts, he says. You flexed it today. Do it again. The bell rings. Students surge. We stand in our little quiet eddy. Coach? I say. Yeah. Thanks for seeing me. He swallows, quick, almost nothing. Always. I slide into class with my heart doing neat cartwheels instead of chaos. Confidence isn't loud or shiny, it's small and steady and lets you touch the day without apologizing. Which is perfect timing, because tomorrow is the part where I overapply everything and the universe laughs. There's a fluorescent flyer for the school dance on the bulletin board. Katerina's name is underlined twice on the committee list. My stomach flips like a coin. Rule 1 helped me walk. Rule 2 will ask me to stand in a crowded gym with a jealous wolf nearby and an alpha who makes hallways feel small. Chapter 5. If Rule 1 was confidence, Rule 2 was apparently strength. The problem? Michael forgot to clarify he meant emotional strength. Which is how I ended up in gym class, clutching a dodgeball like it was a live grenade, preparing to humiliate myself in front of half the school. Strong posture, Michael had said that morning, leaning against my locker like he was delivering ancient wolf scripture. Alphas respect strength. Show you can hold your ground. Hold my ground how? I asked. Don't flinch. Don't back down. Make your presence clear. That was all I heard. Which is why, when Coach threw the first whistle and dodgeballs flew across the gym, I decided that this was my moment. Jason was on the opposite team. Katerina too, smirking like she already knew I was about to star in her comedy show. I squared my shoulders, lifted the ball, and told myself, Annie Miller, you are not prey. You are a storm. Then I threw. The ball flew, about 3 feet, dropped, and rolled pitifully until it tapped someone's shoe. The gym exploded in laughter. Katerina cackled. Wow, Annie. Terrifying. Truly alpha material. I felt my face go nuclear red. But Michael, from the sidelines, shouted, good form. Do it again. Good form? I had just thrown like a T-ball reject. Still, I picked up another ball, squared my shoulders, and tried again. This time I actually hit someone, by accident. The smallest Omega in school, who blinked at me like I'd betrayed world peace. Sorry. I yelped, then instantly ruined Rule 2 by sprinting across the line to help him up. Illegal move, Miller. Coach barked. Cue more laughter. Jason, though. Jason wasn't laughing. He tilted his head, watching me fuss over the Omega kid, helping him off the floor like it mattered more than the game. And for a second, I thought I saw it, something soft flicker across his alpha face. Of course, that was the moment Katerina decided to take her shot. Literally. She hurled a ball at me with wolf precision. I ducked, shrieked, and tumbled backward onto the floor in what I can only describe as the least graceful collapse of my life. The gym roared. Katerina smirked like she'd won a trophy. Michael was at my side in 2 seconds, offering a hand. Strong posture, he muttered under his breath, eyes sparkling with laughter he was barely holding back. I grabbed his hand and hissed, I hate you. Fair, he said, pulling me up. But you survived. Jason jogged over, holding out the ball that had rolled away. You okay? His voice was calm, steady, like nothing about me tripping over my own feet was surprising. Totally fine, I said, brushing my hair out of my face. I just like to keep dodgeball exciting. You know, suspense. Who will she hit? Will she fall again? Riveting. Jason's mouth curved. Riveting, he echoed. Katerina rolled her eyes. She's pathetic, Jason. Why are you wasting your time? Something in me snapped. Maybe it was the sting of the fall, maybe it was Rule 2 screaming in my head, but I turned and said, better pathetic than desperate. The entire gym went ooh-hoo. Katerina's smirk faltered. Just for a second. But I saw it. Jason's gaze flicked between us, and I swear his lips twitched like he was holding back a laugh. Coach blew the whistle again, ending the round. Miller, Reed, Hale, and Katerina, out. Rest of you, back in line. We shuffled to the bench. Michael bumped my shoulder. Not bad, star player. I fell on my face, I muttered. And still got the last word. That's strength, he said, pride sneaking into his grin. Jason sat at the far end of the bench, sipping water, but his eyes slid toward me once, thoughtful. Katerina, meanwhile, stood beside him, her nails clicking against the bench like tiny knives. After class, Michael walked me home, still replaying the game like it was a championship. "You nailed her," he said. "I nailed the floor," I corrected. "Details," he said with a shrug. "What matters is, you stood your ground." Alphas notice that. I stopped in front of my house. "Michael, do you actually want me to succeed with Jason? Or are you just—" He froze. Then smirked, covering whatever slipped through. "Of course I do. I'm your coach. Coaches don't quit mid-season." I stared at him, searching for something behind his grin. But he turned it into a bow. "Tomorrow, Rule 3, humor. You'll crush that one without me even trying." I laughed despite myself. "Thanks, coach." He winked. "Anytime, star player." That night, I couldn't stop thinking about it, the way Jason's eyes softened when I helped the Omega kid. The way he asked if I was okay like it mattered. The way Katerina looked for the first time like she might actually lose. But most of all, I thought about Michael, standing on the sideline, cheering for me even when I was sprawled on the floor. Laughing with me instead of at me. Always there. Always steady. Strength, I realized, wasn't about throwing the perfect dodgeball. It was about standing tall when you wanted to shrink. And sometimes, it was about having someone beside you who believed you could. Still, as I drifted off to sleep, one thought buzzed louder than the rest. The school dance was coming. And if gym class was this much of a disaster, what would happen when the entire school was watching? Chapter 6. The poster called it the Starlight Soiree, but everyone knew it was just our gym and fairy lights and too much floor polish. Still, I stared in the mirror longer than I should have, tugging at my black dress and reminding myself not to trip. Michael texted, "Coach in 3. Remember, eye contact equals connection, not laser beam." I typed back, "Got it." Soft eyes. "Not hunting deer." He sent a wolf emoji. And a raccoon. When he arrived, he whistled. "You look like trouble." He added quickly, "The good kind." "You look like a hoodie," I said, though the hoodie worked on him. He grinned. "Ready?" "No, we left anyway." The gym shimmered with string lights. Wolves and humans spun on the floor, Katerina glittering near the punch like she owned it. Jason stood near the back, and when he saw me, his shoulders eased. He crossed the room like the music parted for him. "Hey," he said. "You clean up well." "You clean up tall," I blurted. He laughed, low and warm. "Dance?" he asked, hand out. Michael gave me a nod. I went. Jason's hand was steady, cedar and cold air in his scent. We moved, not gracefully, but together. I tried to remember to blink during eye contact. "Question," I said. "What did you like about your old school?" "The woods," he said. "You?" "Library windows." The light had opinions. He smiled. "That sounds right." When I stared too long again, he tilted his head. "Are you listening with your face?" I groaned. "Yes." He laughed. "You're funny." The song shifted. "Punch?" he asked. At the table, Katerina slid in, voice honeyed poison. "Sweet dress, Annie. Did your best friend pick it?" "Me," I said, breezy. "He just told me to wear confidence." Jason's eyes softened. Katerina's cracked. She turned sharp. Coach needs you. Alphas only. I'll join later, Jason said, dismissing her. She froze, then glided off. You're not performing, Jason said to me. You're sharing space. That's rare. I didn't know what to say, so I sipped my punch like it had answers. Later, in the courtyard strung with more lights, Jason said, I'm bad at noise like this. Dances. Pretending. Same, I admitted. My head's usually worse than the music. Not tonight, he said simply. Before I could reply, I tripped on a chord. My punch tilted. I flailed, straight into Michael's arms. You okay? He asked, steady. Gravity is enthusiastic, I muttered, cheeks burning. Jason stepped closer. You're not hurt? I'm fine. My pride is on life support. Michael's grin was small, too careful. Survey terrain before doing emotions. Jason excused himself back inside. Dance again later? Yes, I said too fast. He smiled and went. Michael and I sat on the low wall. Music thumped behind us. Thanks for catching me, I said. Always. His eyes were too soft. I looked away. Did I pass rule 2? You didn't fake strength, he said. You were kind. That's enough. I didn't reply. Because I was thinking of Jason's steady hand, and Michael's arms around me like they'd been waiting. Back inside, Jason found me quickly. He didn't waste words. Can I take you out sometime? Not here. Just us. Yes, I breathed. Tomorrow? Tomorrow. His smile was small and real. It's a date. Across the gym, I caught Michael frozen by the bleachers, staring at a banner like it could save him. When I told him later, he asked me out, his grin came late, thin. That's what we trained for, he said. You deserve to be chosen. You choose me every day, I whispered. He looked away. Yeah. Tomorrow, rule 3. Humor. You'll be unstoppable. I nodded, throat tight. He saluted. I smiled, but inside, everything tilted. Because the alpha wanted me. And my best friend already had me. Quick pause. What would you do if you were Annie right now? Stick with the steady alpha Jason, or notice the best friend who's always been there? Tell me in the comments, I'm curious whose side you're on. Chapter 7. I didn't sleep much. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard 2 voices on a loop, Jason's quiet it's a date, and Michael's softer always. By morning, my heart felt like 2 songs playing at the same time. At my locker, Michael was already there, doing coin tricks with a bottle cap like a street magician with too much caffeine. Rule 3, he said brightly. Humor. We keep it light. You're funniest when you're honest without trying. I'm also terrifying when I try, I said. Right, so don't try. He flicked the cap, it vanished. You look like you didn't sleep. Did you? I asked. He shrugged. Sleep is a social construct. I smiled, then sobered. About last night. He froze for 1 second, just one, then leaned on the locker like this was a casual morning at the Casual Olympics. It was good. You were good. Michael, I started. I know, he cut in gently. You don't need permission to be happy. Something hot pricked behind my eyes. That's not what I was asking. He shifted. Then ask me the thing you're not asking. I swallowed. Are you okay with this? Me and Jason? A smile flickered and tripped. He righted it, but I saw the stumble. I'm your coach. I'm okay with you winning. That should have made me feel better. It didn't. Before I could push, Jason rounded the corner, and the hallway did the small hush it does when he appears. His gaze found me, and the tired part of my brain quieted like it had been waiting for him. Morning, he said. Still on for today? Yeah, I said. After school. Michael pasted on his trademark grin. She's got a packed schedule, Alpha. Reading, heroic acts, occasional gravity experiments. Jason's mouth tilted. I'll plan around her busy flight plan. I laughed. It felt easy. It felt wrong. Two truths, fighting. Katerina slid by with a smile like a paper cut. Big day, Annie. First dates are hard when you don't speak Alpha. Good thing I speak human, I said pleasantly. It translates. She eyed Michael. Your beta dictionary won't help her forever. Michael's jaw tightened. She won't need it. Katerina's brows arched. Is that confidence or denial? Both, he said, and the conversation ended there. Jason walked me to class. We didn't say much, we didn't need to. He asked what time worked for me. I said 4. He said he'd pick somewhere quiet. I said perfect. It felt like watching a dock draw nearer while you're still on water. When he left, Michael reappeared from the wall like he had a secret tunnel network. Okay, he said briskly. Humor reps, give me 3. 3 jokes? I asked. 3 truths that make you smile, he said. Core of good humor. I thought. 1. Cafeteria mac and cheese squeaks like it's trying to escape. Correct, he said. 2. Books smell better than perfume. Debatable but charming. 3. Your hoodie is your personality. He put a hand to his chest. Hurtful, accurate. Keep those. No shtick. No trying to be what you think he wants. What if what he wants is, not me? I asked, small. Michael's eyes softened in a way that made me want to hide. Then he'd be wrong. We held that for a beat too long, until my pulse started writing poetry again. I broke it with a cough. He let it break. Also, he added, light, no raw steak gifts. Coward, I said, relieved to laugh. Classes blurred around the edges. In English, I sat 2 rows behind Jason and watched him hold space in a way that didn't swallow the room. In bio, I pretended to label cell parts while my mind labeled feelings, excited, scared, grateful, pulled. At lunch, we didn't sit together, he had a coach meeting, and I had a Michael who kept handing me his fries like they were flotation devices. You're quiet, I said. I'm budgeting my words, he replied. Inflation. Michael. He picked a fry, set it back down, and in a voice so soft I almost missed it said, time is weird. Yesterday, it was us against the cafeteria. Today, I'm calibrating to share you with someone who isn't me. My breath went unsteady. You act like you've had me. He looked up then, and I wished he hadn't and wished he had, because his eyes were raw steel. Haven't I? I stared at him and felt the ground tilt under everything simple. He caught himself, blinked, and the mask dropped back in. Sorry. Humor day, not existential crisis day. Maybe they're related, I said. He scraped a hand over his jaw. Maybe. We finished lunch in almost silence. When the bell rang, he stood and bumped my shoulder with his knuckles because we are children disguised as almost adults. Text me when you're done today. I'll be around. Orbiting, I teased. Always, he said, and the word landed heavy. After school, I stood by the front steps with a stomach full of bees. Jason arrived in a gray tee and the kind of jacket that makes you think about forearms. Hungry? He asked. Emotionally, always. Physically, yes. He smiled and led us off campus, down the side street that curves to a tiny park with a coffee kiosk and benches. It felt quiet on purpose. He ordered tea. I ordered something that tasted like caramel and comfort. We sat on a bench that squeaked and pretended it was charming. You okay? He asked after a sip, eyes scanning my face. It didn't feel like a test. It felt like care. I think so, I said. First dates are a lot. They don't have to be, he said. We can call this a walk. Walks are elegant dates, I said gravely. No one spills on walks. Bold claim, he said. Prove it. We walked the paved loop. We kept pace without trying. He told me about Redwood Academy, about running the ridge at dawn. I told him about writing half poems in my notes app that I never show anyone. He didn't laugh. He asked what the last line I kept was. I swallowed. Sometimes the quietest thing in the room is the truest. He let the line sit, like he knew not to touch a butterfly too soon. I like that. Me too, I said, and meant it more than I knew how to say. We sat again. He leaned back, hands in his jacket pockets. I'm not good at pretending I'm fine when I'm not, he said. So, if I'm ever quiet, it's not distance. It's me trying to say it right. Same, I said. Except I usually just say it wrong faster. He laughed. I can work with that. I realized I hadn't been afraid of him once since we left school. Not of the alpha thing, not of the rumor weather, not of whatever Katerina was plotting. He felt careful with me, with his strength, and I felt allowed to be clumsy and still be okay. We wandered until the light leaned gold. He stopped at the park gate and looked at me like his next sentence mattered. Annie, he said quietly, I like you. The words didn't explode. They landed and unfolded, like a letter I knew was coming but still wanted to read 3 times. I like you too, I said, honesty simple for once. He nodded, relieved. Good. He didn't lean in. He didn't crowd. He just stood there, letting me stand too. I appreciated it more than I could say. Can I? He started, then shook his head. No. I'll walk you back. We did, and maybe the walk back was better than a kiss would have been, because I didn't have to choose what to do with my hands. When school came into view, the day reattached to reality. Jason paused at the steps. Tomorrow? Tomorrow, I echoed. He touched the rail, like he needed to ground the moment. See you. I watched him go and felt light. Then I turned and found Michael leaning under the big oak like he wanted to look like he just happened to be there. How was the walk? He asked. How do you know it was a walk? You have a walk face, he said. Posture's too calm for date. It was good, I said, unable not to smile. He's good. Michael nodded like he'd just had his heart measured and found it inconvenient. You deserve good. We stood in that almost friend silence where everything unspoken gets loud. He pushed off the tree. I should confess something. My stomach braced. Okay. He rubbed the back of his neck. This whole coaching thing? I started it because I panicked. I thought if I helped you do it wrong, it would keep you safe. With me. I blinked. Do it wrong? He winced. Not wrong. Just slower. Stupider. I told myself I was protecting you from alphas being alphas, but really I was protecting me from watching you be happy with someone who isn't. He stopped, swallowed, and changed lanes. It wasn't fair. My chest tightened, not with anger, but something tangled. Michael. I fixed it as soon as I realized, he said quickly. I swear. Rule 1, Rule 2, Rule 3, I meant all of it for you, not against him. I'm not proud of the first impulse. I'm proud of you. I stared at him. He held my eyes like he'd finally decided to stop blinking first. Thank you for telling me, I said. He nodded, a breath of relief leaving him. If you hate me, please send me a calendar invite so I can prepare. I snorted, which made him exhale a laugh that sounded like he might survive this after all. I don't hate you, I said softly. I wish this wasn't hurting you. He shrugged, but the shrug didn't reach his eyes. Pain is educational. I'm getting a PhD. Something in my throat hurt. Michael. Hey, he said, suddenly gentle. You don't have to fix me. Just text me when you get home so I know the world didn't trip you again. I will. We started toward the gate together. He kicked a pebble, it skittered, and we both watched it like it was a comet making a small brave path. At my corner, he slowed. Tomorrow's Rule 4, he said. There's a Rule 4? He smiled, real and sad. Letting the moment be what it is. That's not a rule, I said. It's the hardest one. We stood there a second longer than friends usually do. Then he touched my shoulder and stepped back. Good night, star player. Good night, coach. I walked the last block alone, phone buzzing with a simple text from Jason, home safe? I typed back, almost. Another buzz, sleep well. I stared at the words and tried to believe in simple. I should have felt wholly happy. Instead, I felt like a bridge, beautiful, useful, and carrying too much weight between two shores. Tomorrow would help, I told myself. Tomorrow, I'd be clearer. Tomorrow, I'd know which song in my chest was the truer one. Tomorrow, of course, is when Katerina started listening for secrets. Chapter 8. Dating in Alpha sounded like a dream. In practice, it was coffee cups that never emptied and everyone in the cafeteria pretending not to eavesdrop. Jason and I had been on exactly 2 outings since the dance. The first was a walk in the park where he told me he liked honest company. The second was a trip to the library, where he found me laughing at a poem about onions and asked if humans always got sentimental about vegetables. He wasn't being mean. He just didn't always get it. And that was okay. Right? Michael got it. When I told him the onion poem made me think of the way cafeteria fries cling together like siblings in battle, he nearly choked on his soda. Jason just blinked. Different sense of humor, Michael said when I mentioned it. Not worse. Not better. Just different. Are you jealous? I teased. Of onions? Always, he said, but his smile didn't last long. One afternoon, Jason walked me home. He kept a respectful step beside me, his hands in his pockets, his presence steady. "You make things quieter," he said. "Even when people are staring." My stomach did that nervous flip. "That's a compliment, right?" "The highest," he said, then added, "I don't usually let people in." "You don't push." "I like that." It was sweet. But even as he said it, my phone buzzed with a text from Michael. "Homework tonight?" "Fries are on me." I typed back, "Rain check." "Walking home with Jason." The reply came too fast, "Copy." "Enjoy your alpha escort." The word escort stung more than it should have. The next day, Katerina pounced. Literally. She cornered me outside the gym, her glitter nails flashing like danger signs. "Heard you're Jason's charity project," she purred. "I'm his date," I said evenly. She tilted her head. "For now. Humans don't last. Too fragile. Too breakable." "I survived dodgeball," I said. "Barely," she countered. "Betas catch you, alphas don't." "Jason's being polite." The words wormed into me. I hated that they did. I hated more that Michael overheard. He appeared at my side, voice calm but sharp. "Funny. Last time I checked, Annie doesn't need a wolf to validate her existence." Katerina's smirk widened. "Defensive, Reed? How noble." "Shame loyalty isn't the same as being chosen." Something in Michael's jaw clicked. He didn't bite back. He just took my arm and steered me away, his silence louder than anything he could have said. That night, I found him sitting on the low wall outside my house, hood up even though the night wasn't cold. "You okay?" I asked. "Fine," he said too quickly. "Michael." "Don't," he said, then sighed. "Sorry. I just needed air." I sat beside him. "Katerina's full of it. You know that." "Do you?" he asked quietly. The question sliced. I stared at him. "What's that supposed to mean?" He rubbed the back of his neck. "You're building castles in the air, Annie. And I'm over here holding the ladder, pretending I don't care if it tips." I blinked hard. "So you do care?" His eyes met mine, raw and unguarded for half a second. "Of course I care." The air between us thickened, heavy with everything unsaid. "Then say it," I whispered. He looked away. "I can't." The words landed like a door closing. "Fine," I said, standing. My voice shook, but I didn't stop. "Then stop acting like my feelings for Jason are some tragic sitcom. If you don't want to be my coach anymore, just say it." He stood too, eyes wide. "That's not what I—" "Forget it," I cut in. "I'll figure it out without you." We stared at each other, the space between us suddenly a canyon. Finally, he whispered, "Maybe you should." The words hurt worse than Katerina's claws. I turned, walked inside, and shut the door before he could see the tears. In my room, I paced. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. Jason was sweet. He noticed me. He wanted me. But Michael saw me, and right now, he was the one shutting me out. My phone buzzed. "Jason, good night, Annie." I typed, "Good night." No emojis. No jokes. Just a word. Because the only person I wanted to joke with wasn't speaking to me anymore. Chapter 9. By lunch the whispers had decided for us, Jason and I were basically official. No one asked me. No one asked him. Westwood ran on vibes and the vibes had signed paperwork. After last bell he found me by the track, hands in his jacket, watching sprinters explode off the line. Walk? He asked. Yeah. We cut along the edge of the field where the trees start and the noise thins. For a while we just matched steps. Then he said, quiet, I don't do halfway. I swallowed. Okay. I like you, Annie. Not just like. I want us. He didn't crowd. He just let the words stand there like a door he'd opened. Simple. Kind. I could feel my body lean toward the rest it promised. Yes, I said, soft. Okay. He let out a breath like he'd been saving it for weeks and reached for my hand. I let him. We stood like that, warm palms, cool air. When we turned back, I caught sight of Michael across the grass by the bleachers, hood up, still as weather. He saw our hands. His face didn't move. Somehow that was worse than anger. The vending machine was out of snack sticks. I know this because Michael stood there like he'd been personally betrayed by the empty coil. Tragedy, I said, stepping beside him. Thoughts and prayers, he deadpanned. We stared at glowing junk food like it could translate us. So, I tried, Jason and I. Congrats, he said too quickly. The word bruised. I didn't plan it. It just felt simple. Simple's great, he said, smile too neat. Huge fan. You're mad. I'm something. His voice thinned. I was going to tell you I'm quitting. Quitting what? Coaching. He kept his eyes on the machine. You don't need a beta chaperone to talk to your boyfriend. That's not what you've been. Heat rose in my throat. You've been my... What? He asked, gentle like a dare. Say it. My person, I whispered. He shut his eyes 1 second, like it hurt. When they opened, the hoodie wasn't big enough. Annie, I can't keep standing next to you and pretending my chest isn't on fire. Silence hummed with fluorescent light. When did it start? I asked, because if we were going to rip the page we might as well read it. 2nd grade, he said, no drama, just truth. When you laughed instead of screaming. When you told a wolf pup nice fur and handed him a paper towel. When you sat next to me even when the room sat far away. And every day after. All our small things stacked in my chest like books I'd always owned but never opened, grape juice, cafeteria rescues, milk cuffs, breathing in 4s, fist bumps, a hoodie that meant home. Why didn't you tell me? I asked. Because I was brave in the wrong direction, he said. Because if I said it and you ran, I'd lose the only thing I've always had, your everyday. Because you smiled at him like you were tired of trying to be okay. He dragged in a breath. And because I thought if I helped, I could slow it down. Outrun the part where I don't get chosen. The floor tilted. I pressed my palm to cool plastic. He met my eyes, steady. You don't owe me anything. Not a pivot. Not a soft landing. I just can't be your coach anymore. I can be your friend, or I can be in love with you, but I can't do both while you're holding someone else's hand. The bell rang somewhere, indifferent. I blinked stinging air. I don't want to lose you, I said. Then don't, he answered, raw. But don't keep me like a lucky penny either. I flinched. He closed his eyes. Sorry. That wasn't fair. Maybe it was, I said. It tasted like metal. Katerina arrived like she'd been summoned by the scent of vulnerability. Adorable, she cooed. Annie's doing her human experiment. The council approves. Temporary things can still be cute. You're exhausting, I said. I hydrate, she replied. To Michael, careful, beta. This is where boys like you say something they can't unsay. Good thing I'm not a boy, he said softly. I know exactly what I'm saying. Her smile sharpened. Which is? He turned to me. The hallway narrowed to his face. No audience voice, no armor. I love you. It didn't explode. It unlocked. A door swung somewhere inside and all the air changed. Jason's name lit my phone. I didn't look. I started. The drawer of my mouth was locked, I couldn't find the key. It's okay, Michael said, gentle even now. You don't have to answer. I just need it out. He took one step back, and the space he left was larger than the building. Please be happy, he added. Even if it's not with me. He walked away. Katerina watched him go, eyes bright with other people's pain. Poor thing, she murmured. Betas love hardest. You don't get to say his love doesn't matter, I snapped. She blinked, amused. Defensive. Interesting. Then she drifted off, satisfied she'd collected enough misery. I slid down the wall and sat on tile that smelled like 100 gym classes. My phone buzzed again. Jason, Gate? Jason, everything okay? Me, 2 minutes. 2 minutes later, he was there, reading my face like a map. You okay? I think so, I said. It's a lot. We can slow down, he said immediately. As slow as you want. The kindness almost cracked me. Thank you. We walked the side street toward the little park with the squeaky bench and the kiosk that sells comfort in to-go cups. He didn't press. I didn't pretend. When we sat, he said, if there's something you need to tell me, tell me. I'd rather hold truth than performance. I looked at the boy who didn't crowd, who liked my quiet, who made hallways feel wide. I liked him. I liked us. But love had just said my name in a hallway like a prayer that wasn't asking. I need time, I said. He nodded, steady. You have it. We looped the path. He told a story about his old coach misreading a play. I laughed at the right parts and it wasn't a lie, just not the whole truth. We passed the gym, a flyer flapped, pack ceremony, full moon celebration, Friday night. Another banner hung crooked from the dance cleanup. You going? He asked. Probably. Everyone does, I said. Me too. Back at the steps, he squeezed my hand. Text me? I will. He left me at the rail. The evening cooled. My phone buzzed again, Michael. Michael, pack ceremony Friday. If you need quiet, northeast bleachers. No one checks there. I stared until the words blurred, typed thank you, almost added are you okay, deleted it, sent the thank you alone. In my room, I lay on my rug and listened to 2 songs practicing inside my chest, both beautiful, both true, neither willing to yield. Friday would pick one for me. Chapter 10. Friday night smelled like bonfires and nerves. The pack ceremony was half tradition, half pep rally, wolves flexing strength under the full moon while humans clapped like tourists. Everyone came. Which meant everyone would see me, Jason, and whatever face I decided to wear. The field glowed with lanterns. Wolves gathered near the stage where Coach barked about unity. Humans clustered at the bleachers with cocoa and popcorn. And me? I felt like a kid wearing mismatched shoes. Jason found me fast. His hand slipped into mine with that quiet steadiness I was starting to recognize as his language. "You okay?" "I think so," I said. "Stay close," he murmured. "These things get loud." We walked through the crowd together. Heads turned. Katarina's glare followed us like a spotlight. She looked beautiful, of course, in a silver dress that caught the moon. She always looked beautiful. But her eyes were knives. Jason guided us toward the center. His presence was calm, anchoring. But my eyes kept flicking, to the northeast bleachers. To a hoodie shape sitting alone, like he'd already told me he would. Michael. He wasn't looking at me. That was almost worse. The ceremony began. Wolves shifted, howls echoed, humans applauded politely. Jason stood tall beside me, alpha posture in full display. I should have felt proud. Instead I felt split, like a wishbone. Katarina's voice cut sharp through the speeches. "Annie Miller," she called sweetly, loud enough for half the bleachers to hear. "How's it feel dating an alpha when you can barely keep up in gym class?" Laughter rippled. My cheeks burned. Jason stiffened. Michael moved like he might stand, then froze. Something in me snapped. I stepped forward. "Feels great," I said, loud enough. Because strength isn't about throwing dodgeballs, it's about not letting bullies decide who I get to be. The laughter stopped. Katarina blinked, caught off guard. I heard a low whistle, from Michael's corner. My heart thumped with it. Jason's jaw eased. He leaned toward me. "That's what I like about you," he said softly. "You don't perform. You just are." And in that moment, I knew. Jason was kind, steady, real, but not mine. Not the way Michael was. Jason must have seen it in my face. His eyes searched, then softened. "Go," he said gently. "Before you regret not going." My throat tightened. "Jason." He shook his head. "I'll be fine. Alphas don't break that easy. But you'll break if you keep pretending." The crowd roared as another wolf finished their run. It gave me cover. I slipped toward the bleachers, legs shaky, breath counted in fours. Michael sat with his hood up, pretending the ceremony was more interesting than me. "Hey," I said. My voice wobbled. He looked up. His eyes were tired. "Hey. You weren't going to say anything?" "I already said too much," he murmured. I sat beside him. Close enough that our shoulders brushed. "You told me the truth. Now it's my turn." He turned, careful, like hope was dangerous. "I love you too," I whispered. The words left my chest like birds finally set free. His face broke, into disbelief, then relief, then something so raw it made my eyes sting. "Say it again," he breathed. "I love you," I said, steadier. "I've always loved you. I just didn't see it until I almost lost it." For a moment, the world shrank to the two of us. No alpha, no crowd, no Katarina's claws. Just me and Michael and the space we'd been circling for years finally closing. He laughed under his breath, shaky. You're the worst student. I was supposed to be teaching you how to date someone else. And I failed gloriously, I said. He reached for my hand. Our fingers fit like they'd been practicing. Down on the field, wolves howled at the moon. Humans clapped. But in the northeast bleachers, under cheap lantern light, I finally chose, and it wasn't complicated. Jason caught my eye once before the ceremony ended. He nodded, small and sure, and turned away. Katarina scowled like she'd been cheated out of a finale. But for once, I didn't care. Michael squeezed my hand. So, star player, he murmured, smiling real. Ready for Rule 4? What's Rule 4? I asked. He leaned in, eyes soft and certain. Letting the moment be what it is. So I did. And the moment was perfect. Epilogue. A week after the pack ceremony, the cafeteria looked the same: squeaky macaroni, sticky tables, wolves arguing about track meets, but everything felt different. Michael and I sat across from each other, trays between us, our hands linked under the table like teenagers in a bad sitcom. It was ridiculous and wonderful. So, he said, biting into his sandwich, dating your coach. That's unprofessional. You were a terrible coach, I shot back. Half your rules were made up. They worked, he said. You ended up with me. I rolled my eyes. No, I ended up with you because I finally realized you've been my person all along. His grin softened. He reached over and stole one of my fries. That's going in my highlight reel. Katarina strutted by, muttering something about temporary humans. I didn't flinch. Michael didn't even look up. Jason, across the room, caught my eye, gave me a small nod, then went back to his conversation like a true gentleman. It felt settled. Peaceful. Real. Michael tapped my wrist. Rule 5. There's a Rule 5? He leaned close, his voice low and warm. Always steal fries before your girlfriend notices. I laughed and shoved the tray toward him. Take them all. Just don't steal me. Never, he said, and kissed my cheek like it was the most natural thing in the world. The cafeteria erupted with noise, wolves howling at a joke, humans shouting about test scores. But at our table, under the hum of fluorescent lights and grease-stained posters, I felt calm. Chosen. Home. Turns out love wasn't about alphas or betas or rules. It was about the boy who made the world quieter, the one who caught me every time I tripped, even when it was over my own heart. And this time, I wasn't running. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss my coming werewolf romance stories.